Hi, and welcome to Two CPAs and the Mic, the podcast where we talk tax, finance, and all things related to business. Whether you're a business owner, working professional, or someone who wants to start a career in accounting, this is the podcast for you. Hosted by CCK Strategies partners Jeff Frable and Sara Mays, we dive into relevant business and tax matters with working professionals to make these topics less intimidating, relatable, and dare we say fun? Let's get down to business.
Welcome to this week's episode of Two CPAs and the Mic. We're so happy that you're joining us. We are covering relevant business and tax topics and trying to do it in a way where we apply straight talk, practical information without all the jargon and stuffiness that normally goes along with our industry. And so I'm here again today with my wonderful co-host, Sara Mays. Hi, Mays. What's up?
Hey, Frable. It's a good day today.
It is a good day today.
I'm going to Forrest Frank that. I'm not going to sing, but I'm about
Who's Forrest Frank?
Oh, no.
Oh, Jeff. Okay, Belinda's going
to... I actually know who he is,
okay,
but I don't listen to his music, but
well, we're
not because I don't want to. Anyway, we're going to have a good day.
We're going to have a good day. Mm-hmm.
Joining us today, again, is Christy Porter. Hello, Christy.
Hello, Jeff. Hello, Sara.
So good to have you in the studio.
So
glad to be here.
Well, let's just be open, honest, and vulnerable with our dozens of listeners this morning. Give us a little bit of a looking behind the scenes of how we do this podcast. You know, we have been doing a lot of episodes and we've been quote unquote putting them in the can and getting them in advance so that we could make it through our busy seasons. And we truthfully have not recorded in probably a couple months.
Yeah, and I would say I was thinking it's the end of July, beginning of August.
Yeah,
was our
so
last
we're back in the saddle again today, and it may take a little bit of time for us for our brains to catch up with our mouths. But we are excited to be back, and we are excited to start doing more episodes, and we are extremely excited about today's guest.
Oh, so excited.
Who is on the mic today, Sara?
Today on the mic is our fearless tax division leader here at CCK, Belinda Jordan. Hi, Belinda.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me on the mic.
Oh, yes. Well, you are more than welcome. I want to point out that if any of our listeners are putting on their shoes to go for a run or do whatever workout, they may be thinking, why should I be listening to a tax director speak on the mic today? And I'm going to tell them why.
Good, because I don't know.
Yeah, we didn't talk about this. Let's put it this way. If you are a professional in this industry, and you're obviously working for another firm of some kind, and you're in public accounting, you're going to hear some really great stories today about the way we do things internally at CCK, the way we manage workloads, the way we work with our teammates. And one of the people that does that most significantly in our office is Belinda. And so it may be good to hear how we do things. Is that the way you do things in your firm or whatever? But if you are a business owner, you obviously deal with deadlines and issues and things of that nature. And that is exactly down her street here. Yeah. I mean, she does this all the time. And so she's got some wonderful nuggets on how we do things and how she manages stress and workloads. And I can't wait to hear the different questions you ask her today, Sara.
Oh, only me?
Because you are leading this.
Yeah, right. We'll see how long that lasts.
I got choked up for a minute.
Christy, I know. Christy is choking on the lies over there from Jeff. Yes. So Belinda, you have been at CCK for 3.5 years now. Can you believe it?
No, I still feel new. I'm learning new things every day.
Oh, see, I'm on the opposite end. I feel like you have been here for forever, which I think that's a good thing.
It is a good thing.
I do. And I think that's a good thing. So I'm going to, before we get into the introductions of her and let her talk about herself, I just wanted to say that with you being here for only 3.5 years and only makes it sound short, but you just have this amazing presence in our office. So I first want to thank you for that, for sure. And then also this part I'm really excited about because when you work with Belinda, she gets down to business. And so she is so good at that. So sometimes peeking into her personal life is kind of hard, but in a good way, you just like to get in there. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? I know you're not from the Tulsa area.
That's right.
Let's start from where did you go to school, all the things, and then all about married life and your precious girl.
Okay. So I grew up in San Antonio, Texas, and I decided to go to Baylor University. And I was, go Bears, sick and Bears. I was the kid that in high school, when someone said, what are you going to do when you grow up? I am going to be an accountant. So here I am.
You were a crazy young person, weren't you?
Yes, I was a little bit crazy. And so I went to Baylor, did the 5-year program, got the master's in tax, got the internship, landed one with Big Four, which I was really proud of because it was in the Enron times when Anderson,
tanked it.
So very proud that I was selected from Baylor to go do this internship in Dallas in the big city.
Ooh.
Started my career there. And so I met my husband on a cruise.
Wow, I didn't know that. Where on the cruise did you meet?
In the theater.
What did you think she was going to say? The promenade
the bar.
deck?
No, the bar.
Oh, okay.
The bar.
It was not the bar, but I was with my best girlfriend and he was with his brother. And so we ended up meeting like the 6th night of a 7-night cruise. And he had just moved to Tulsa. And so him and his brother had driven down to Galveston. And he said, on our way back, I want to take you to dinner. And I thought, yeah, right. This guy's not going to call. But he did.
Oh, well.
So anyway, pretty quickly, I moved myself to Tulsa. And I've been here for 18 years. And I love it.
That's
Great
awesome.
story.
Yeah.
That is a great story. And now you guys have been married and you have a precious daughter.
We have our daughter, Savannah, and it was a long journey for us to get to parenthood. And she is the best thing that has happened to us. So we've been married almost 20 years and she's 7.
Yeah. First grade, right?
Second grade this year.
Wow.
I know.
See, again, time flies.
Yeah.
All right. So you been to Tulsa, you graduated with accounting and you did internship at the Big Four. So, and then where did you go after your internship?
So I was hired full-time to work for, can I say it?
Yeah.
Why not?
Okay. PricewaterhouseCoopers. I am a very proud PwC alumni and was able to transfer with PwC to Tulsa when that time came in my life. And then I got to experience a different Big Four, which was Ernst & Young.
Oh, nice.
So really enjoyed my time there and spent about 7 years.
What were you? Were you doing audit or?
I was tax. I
You
was
were-
tax
you were
the whole
tax.
time.
Okay, like
Yes.
corporate tax.
Yes.
Okay,
So
big time corporate tax. Okay.
everything from publicly traded companies to high
right,
net
okay.
worth individuals once I got to Tulsa and really large oil and gas partnerships too.
Don't forget international.
And international. So I started my career in international. Funny side story. When I was a baby intern and I saw on the piece of paper, they put me in the ITS group. And I thought that meant information technology services. And I raised my hand and I said, excuse me, I signed up for international tax. And they said, that's what that is. International tax services. And I was like, okay.
Well, I knew that. Yeah, I knew that.
Love it.
I was
I
testing
love that
testing
you.
you.
I love that you raised your hand to ask.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I love.
There
about
you go. I
Belinda.
know. Me too.
She's
Me too.
she is my soul sister question asker for sure.
Lots of questions.
Yes. All right. So you left Ernst & Young though, and
Yes.
you did go the industry route.
I went to industry. So I was not looking to leave public accounting when I did, but I was pursued by a very, very pushy recruiter who kept calling around the deadline. And so I kept saying, I am not interested. And I would hang up. And he was so pushy. He might be listening, and that's okay. He said, you would be an idiot if you do not go and meet these people. And I said, that is so rude. And I think I hung up, but then I still went and met the people. So I ended up working at that company for about 12 years. It was Occidental Petroleum. It was an incredible experience. And I got to pursue international tax for about 7 of those years. I was able to do consolidations, work in the global provision group. I worked with people from all over that company. It's a publicly traded company. And I had a great experience.
Yeah. Okay. So all of that wrapped up, and then we got you.
Yes. So again, I really was not looking and received a call from a recruiter. This time, it was a very nice recruiter. And she asked if I'd be interested in coming back to public accounting. And in my prior roles, I had always been client facing and I really enjoyed my industry job. And so I said, no, thanks, I'm not interested. And she said, this role is different. This is about leading and developing people, and you won't be client facing. And I really thought she was lying, to be frank. But I had the pleasure of meeting Christy Porter the next morning. And by that afternoon, I was in CCK's offices meeting a founding partner. and another partner. So it was quick relationship building. I soon got to meet you, Sara, and some of the other tax leaders. But yeah, it was not an expectation of mine to ever come back into public accounting. And I definitely never saw this role. I didn't even know this type of role existed. So
honestly, this is a new role in that for us as well, in that, historically we've had a partner leading the tax division. Well, as a partner, you're building your book of business. You're also client facing and on top of leading a team. And that's stretching one person very thin. And we really wanted to focus on building our tax department. And we knew that we had to kind of segregate that between client facing versus internal facing. And Jeff, and Christy, don't you agree that's like the best decision we've ever made?
Yeah, we banged our head against a wall for years with different teammates. Were you a tax? You were?
Nope, never.
You were. Well, good for you.
Never.
But, everyone that did it's not that they failed. It's just that they had so much in order to maintain your book and to build your book and take care of your clients, but also take care of the people in the department. The teammates in the department is extremely difficult and time consuming. And we wanted to get to this point. We just had to find the right person.
And we did.
And you were supposed to be here. You were supposed to be Belinda, you were supposed to be leading people. I knew it. I knew you were supposed to be leading people. Thank you.
So, okay, that's it. Christy,
Sorry.
That was a good segue. No,
thanks.
It was good. It was a good segue into,
teary-eyed.
right. So it's all about leading people, is leading a team, is being in leadership and as a leader. So let's get into the nitty gritty. So leadership is important, and it's less about control, but it's more about coordinating and communication. What does that look like for the tax department?
Yeah.
Big picture.
So in my past jobs, I've always been able to, if, the rubber hits the road, I roll up my sleeves and I will finish the job myself if I have to. And in this role, that is not my lane. So I have to really look big picture at how much we're trying to accomplish, how we are trying to best care for our clients while also caring for our people, keeping in mind retention of clients and staff members. And make sure that we really accomplish getting our projects done in a way that honors the clients, honors our people, honors our time, and takes care of everyone.
Right. It really, for you, I feel like you're an info gatherer and then an info disperser.
Yes.
Right.
One of the tools that we've put in place since I've joined the firm is internal deadlines. So Jeff, you were talking about how other business owners, how do you accomplish things? How do you get things done? Because a lot of times I feel like I'm waiting and watching this pot of water boil, or I am squeezing the toothpaste out of the toothpaste tube, rolling slowly from the bottom up. And I know when I need to get everything done. And so it's setting these mini internal deadlines and taking them seriously so that we can accomplish the volume of work that our firm has grown to, while also creating capacity to take on emergency clients. Those clients that maybe they didn't know they needed tax services at this time. Oh my goodness, there's a tax deadline in 5 days. I'm trying to create the capacity for us to help those people.
That's awesome.
While at the same time taking care of our teammates.
Absolutely.
So, approximately how many teammates report to you through a person, or how many people are you responsible for?
There's about 60.
60. Okay. So you're trying to get 60 individuals in different generations to go in the same direction to achieve a common goal by a certain time.
That's right.
So that's pretty easy to do, right?
No, it's not. We also are in different locations.
That's true. Yes.
So we have the 2 offices in Frisco and in Tulsa. We have 100% remote teammates. And we also have teams that we work with overseas that are helping us accomplish our goals. So really, the key is communication. Big surprise, right, to everybody in the room. But there is power with communication. And if you don't communicate, things are not going to happen.
Right. I've joked for the 3 years you've been here about your emails, and they come throughout any of the tax seasons, and it's like, these are the numbers. And you talk about being data driven. It is all numbers and people that are responsible. And it can either excite you, scare you, or encourage you, depending on where you're sitting during that,
Right.
that deadline
Where you
period.
land on the list.
Yeah, exactly.
Belinda has a list, y'all.
I'm probably the only one that scans the list to see where I am compared to Sara May.
No, 100%. And I'm always below Jeff.
Yeah.
The bad ones are on the top of the list.
But the other thing that you talked about that I've wondered about, but I was never able to really put the pieces together until you just said it. I will get the randomest messages from Belinda, like, is this project going to be done by this certain time? And I'm like, I've got like 50 projects and you're asking me about one. What is up with that? And you must have this, like you said, you're doing what with the toothpaste? You're squeezing the bottom.
Slowly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm constantly analyzing our big pool of data and trying to make sure that we don't have the one or two that slip through the cracks, because that could be detrimental
Absolutely.
in our field. If a tax return is not filed on time, client could rack up penalties, interest, could be really bad. So I'm scanning our entire system and looking at data points constantly and checking in with people, checking in with our interns, our analysts, seniors, all the way up to our founding partners, and saying, hey, did this get filed? What are we planning on doing with this? So I think one takeaway is our accuracy of data. And every business owner should know that they want their data and their systems to be accurate, because otherwise, how can you know if you're going to accomplish the goal?
Absolutely.
And how do you make decisions if any decision you make, if it's bad data,
Correct.
You're going to make a bad decision.
Correct. Because one of the things that we've talked about is taking care of our people, our teammates internally. And I'm looking at a bunch of different data points to determine how many hours people need to work throughout the entire year, month by month. And so I'm really trying to stay committed to not asking people to work just a ton of overtime.
Right. And we try to make that something that is different for us as a firm in our culture. And the thing I was going to mention is that for those that are listening that don't work in a CPA or public accounting firm, it's not just this easy thing of you have 100 returns to do and by the such and such date. I mean, it is at a very high level, but the number of details that need to be monitored, and like you said, our teammates, and it's not just their hours, it's their emotions, it's their home life. I mean, things can really impact our process, and then it's getting everything done and getting it filed and getting it off the checklist so that we can have the all clear at the end of a due date. But it is a massive undertaking.
Yes. And just to expand on what Jeff just said, the all clear, I've worked in jobs and with teams where there might be just 2 or 3 people left in the office at 2 a.m.
On deadline day.
On deadline day, or leading up to a deadline, and they're trying to wrap up a project. That does not happen at CCK. We may not be all in the office. COVID did give us some gifts. One of those is that we all realized we can actually work from home. Mm-hmm. So you won't find people up here after dinner time, but there are people working, and we finish together. And that's something that we really have to teach our newer teammates as they join CCK, that we cross the finish line together.
And by newer teammates, you mean not only new to the profession, but new to our firm.
New to CCK.
They may have experienced something different.
That's right.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think from a business owner's perspective, Belinda, you said something that really resonated, that the communication has to be really clear. And what I heard, to allow people to be held accountable for that due date or that timeline, the communication has to be clear, not just from your perspective, but that you're communicating so effectively that there is no question about what you're asking, and then the why behind it all, and how it impacts the thing that we're here to do, which is to serve our client and our team well.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Because unless people really understand why we're doing something, they are less motivated to get behind the mission and behind the vision. So it really takes communicating the why. Something that I've learned in this role is that you have to communicate things. It's 7 times. Like that's what the studies show.
Wow.
7 times before it's going to sink in to everyone in the room.
You hear that, Jeff?
No.
So that's why Jeff gets 7 messages every But it is challenging because I'll have people ask questions and I'm like, oh, I've said it 5 times. And I'm like, oh, wait, I haven't said it number 6 and 7.
Yes.
So it really does take a lot of communication.
Right. Okay. So with communication, you need to have people to hear you as you communicate. Mm-hmm. So we got to build a good team. So talk about, especially since you've been here, what that looks like in building a good team, recruiting, retaining people, this is a lot I'm throwing at you, putting people in the right roles, all of those things. What does that look like for you?
Yeah, I would say that the recruiting side, and that includes retention for me. I think of recruiting and retention as one. It is one of the most important pieces of my job, and really digging into what makes an individual tick. So just because somebody's an accountant does not mean that they are going to be the greatest tax return preparer. They might be an incredible training team member. They might be an incredible leader of others as far as being an encourager or helping people stay on track. So it's really asking the questions and being willing to sit with people and listen to know what makes them tick. Also, something that's just incredible about CCK is how we have grown and how we've identified new roles as we've grown. Mm-hmm. And then we utilize as much as we can internal team members to fill those spots. So it's been really neat to watch people kind of fit into the place they really should be.
Right. So in those, when you're looking at that, we use tools here at CCK. I'm not going to answer the question for you, but you really didn't have other tools like this at your other places, or not as extensive.
And I had never been as involved on the recruiting side as I've been able to be at CCK. So there is a lot of intentionality behind what we do on the recruiting side. We use a test called Personametrics, mm-hmm. and it really allows us to see how people react to questions and problems and how they problem solve, what their natural tendencies are going to be. Are they externally motivated? Are they internally motivated? Is there a high sense of urgency? Do they take their time making decisions? Do they need consensus of others before they're going to take action? So it's analyzing all of these things. It's about an 8-page report, and not letting that one test dictate whether somebody's going to be a good fit at CCK, because I've seen people that didn't have the best results that are superstars. So really, it's just a tool.
Some of them are even partners.
Yes. I got 2 sitting right here. So just to put context into that, this test has been around for a while, and it looks very like the ones even for our new recruits that I've seen almost looks exactly like what Jeff and I took way back in the day.
Yeah.
I remember taking that test. Yeah.
Decades.
Yeah. Decades. Yeah. Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah.
But we've used that test, and there are some, if you're looking at one specific piece of that, one grade that they give, I think me and Jeff are pretty low.
I know I am. The thing about that, though, and you kind of touched on it. It's not a test that say if you're going to be a good CPA, tax preparer, whatever. But it's, by that time we've identified that this person is probably a decent candidate, and so it's a matter of being able to put that person in the right spot.
That's right.
And I have a client that does, I'm going to call it personality testing, but I know it's way more than that, but I'm just so that people can kind of get in on the same page. But he does it with sports teams. So like collegiate sports teams. And you think, well, why do you need that kind of stuff? Well, when you get a introverted or an extroverted basketball player and you're rooming them with the opposite, and you run into these things, and you have people on the team that just like to veg and not do anything. You have people on the team that like to, have a good time. It's no different in our office. It's just getting them in the right spot, not only with what they do, but the way they operate.
And the team they're on. So
Exactly.
A lot of times we'll use that tool to line up a team member within one of our 6 or 7 tax teams to make sure they have somebody they're going to work well with. And it doesn't always work out perfect. So that's another part of leading people is feeling comfortable trying something and then making some shifts, making some moves, not giving up on people, but saying like, if this is where you really want to be, let's make some shifts to see if we can have the outcome be a little bit better.
Right. And we also use strength finders.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness we use our Clifton strengths.
Three.
Yeah. So the teammates take the strengths finders once they've already been onboarded at CCK, and we use those tools a lot. I am one of 3 division leaders, and all 3 of us are pulling up people's strength finders. I was looking at a couple today. One of my favorite things about strengths finders is the blind spots, especially mine, because if I start getting in a pickle, I can look at those blind spots and I'm like, well, here it is. And then what can I lean into? And I can always talk to Christy to help pull me out of any funk that I might be into.
You'd be surprised. Well, you might not be surprised how many people actually just stop by and ask if we can go over their Clifton strengths. For they're seeing, they're learning to recognize their own blind spots. They're learning to recognize that they have something's going on. What I love the most about it is that they're doing a self-check first before they start looking around in their environment. And that, I think, is the strength of having the culture that we do, that we're real open to it. And one of the things I think the safety piece of Clifton strengths is there are words to match it. It's not coming from a place of condemnation or judgment that, I'm not firing on all cylinders. I can kind of see it right here. Okay. And then it allows us to know how to reframe, regroup, or reset. And it can completely change the situation.
Yep, absolutely.
And then besides strength finders, we also use appreciation in the workplace too, which I think it's great. It's very similar to the love languages, except for I think they
don't have physical touch.
Yeah, they don't have physical touch.
I thought they did.
No.
I thought it was like, high fives and stuff like that, obviously.
That might have gotten taken away.
Oh.
I think, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Victoria will tell you. No.
That's our HR.
Yes. But I appreciate that, because if somebody wants that quality time and I'm over here doing acts of service, that's not lining up with anything. And they're like, I don't care about what you're doing, doing all these service things for me. Just please sit and spend time with me. And that has been really effective, I think.
Oh yeah. So we have a new teammate and I've spent a lot of time with her during the recruiting process. And I was reading over her, is it called the MBA? Her inventory of languages, and it's gifts. And I was shocked because I would have never thought that based on what I know of this person. I would have thought, it's words of affirmation or it's acts of service, something like that. But to know that it was gifts was just kind of shocking. So I've actually asked our team, I want a matrix of all of our tax teammates' languages, and not just their top 2, but also their least.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Because if I'm, pouring praise on Ben, and he could care less, which he couldn't. I mean, his is actually words of affirmation. But let's just say I think I'm really encouraging a teammate and it's falling on deaf ears. So I'm gonna really bring that front and center in one of our upcoming tax team leader meetings.
That's
because
good.
we all need a refresher on what those languages are, because we are facing, our last 2 giant tax deadlines of the year. And people really need encouragement after they've put in a lot of hard work. So to be encouraging right around time when people can feel the burnout, that I think it'll be a huge pick-me-up.
It just reminded me of something as we were talking about the persona metrics, which we do use as part of our selection tool, that there used to be, I'm not sure if it's still on there, but there is a question that talks about motivation. And there is a section where it can be measured if someone is motivated by compensation monetary motivation.
Yep.
And then there's other forms. But it reminds me of this because to some people in our firm, that's a clear motivator, where others are really driven by and motivated and feel rewarded by something completely different. Mm-hmm. And I think as a society, we generally will generalize some of that. And I love the tools that we use because it allows us to see our teammates from a really different, outside of our own lens. Mm-hmm. And we have to lean into those resources. It's so helpful.
Yes, for sure.
We've always referred to that as the appreciation language. And you kind of blurred the line and went where I was wanting to go. But we had a new thing today, these great groups.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yes.
And so I was with my teammates today and we were talking, and one of the questions was, because in essence, what we did is we went through our core values and asked different questions. And when we talked about appreciation, we were talking about what has worked and what hasn't. And we kind of came to the conclusion that encouragement is the same as appreciation.
Oh, yeah.
So in other words, I could come up to you all day long and go, oh, you can do it, Belinda. You're the best. And if language and words is not your thing, I mean, all you may need from me is just a wink and a smile that says, you got this.
Right.
And that may be all you need, but it's the same thing with the appreciation as it is with the encouraging.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
All right. So in that, with, you're talking about giving winks and stuff. Some people just like to communicate. And there's our segue into communication. Mm-hmm. Wasn't that
was smooth, Sara?
That was
really smooth, Sara.
Okay. So when you're doing communication, you're communicating to 60 plus people in the firm, but you also are utilizing your team leaders and others to help communicate. But how do you communicate, and what has worked and what hasn't worked?
Mm-hmm. So I've found that the more specific I can be, the better results I'll receive.
Which, y'all, I'm going to interrupt you. This is my favorite thing about Belinda. She is she's so specific, and she's just succinct. I mean, everything is boom, boom,
appreciate her
boom.
Personality and her heart.
Thank you, Jeff.
Go ahead, Sara.
Thank you, Fergal. But no, I love that's because I am the harsh word for that is blunt. I'm very blunt, but
No, you're direct.
Direct. Okay, that's
you honor people with directness.
I honor people with directness. I'm going to use that. Thank you, Christy.
Welcome.
But I think that's what I really appreciate about you. You are very specific and very direct, but with the kindness behind it. Whether it's good or bad, you've got the kindness behind it. But
I try to be kind. Sometimes it gets me in trouble. Sometimes I've been known to be too nice. So
those are two different things.
They're two different things.
Yes.
And one of the things I've learned, especially here in this role at CCK, that being nice is not necessarily being kind. Being kind is sharing the whole picture with people. Here's what you're doing really well. Here's what I need you to stop doing. Here's what I need you to start doing. That's being kind. Sugarcoating the whole thing, that's just being nice. That's not necessarily being kind. So one of the things one of the partners, she's one of my mentors. Her name is Luann. She has said, try to have a call to action in your emails. Like, be specific on what you want the partners to do or what you want the project managers to actually do with this information. Because a lot of times I am just sharing information with you guys, and I'm hoping that you'll know exactly what I want you to do with that.
And there's some that just want to be told kind of what they need to focus on and where they need to go.
Yes.
They've got so much going on that if you could just provide a little bit of light,
yes.
that's wonderful.
Like, here's the most important thing for this week.
Are you raising your hand, Jeff?
Yes, absolutely.
So I do try to be very specific when I'm communicating, especially around deadlines, things like that. When I am communicating feedback, I also try to be specific. I've learned that by giving broad, vague feedback, especially if it's critical, they're going to come back to you and say, can you give me an example of that? Because I certainly do. If I'm receiving feedback, I'm like, oh my goodness, I need to know, when did I do something that offended somebody else so I can go fix it? I want to fix it. So making sure that when you're receiving, in my role, I am a buffer a lot of times. So I will receive feedback from partners about project managers and what they need to do better. Or I will receive feedback from project managers on what some partners need to do better. So consolidating that, but also bringing examples to the table. One thing that I have found to be completely ineffective is the shotgun approach. So I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but someone will say, well, none of my work is moving. And I could say, okay, I'll pull up all of Jeff's project managers and I'm going to email all of them and say, you guys, none of you are moving your work. But once I start talking to Jeff and like pulling this apart, I'm like, wait, there's 2 out of 10 projects that aren't moving. Let's talk to those people specifically instead of doing the shotgun approach, because more than likely, the person you're trying to communicate to in the shotgun approach, they are not going to be listening. They're just not.
Right.
And the people that are doing really well might take that feedback to heart and start feeling panicky inside that they're not doing something right when they're performing beautifully.
Right.
So you rarely pay attention to the always or nevers in when people make comments.
I pay attention and then I start pulling it apart. I'm like, whoa. I seriously doubt that all of this whole group of people is doing this right now. Or, that's rarely the case.
Well, and also going back to like when somebody says so-and-so's not doing something right, or so-and-so's did this wrong or did this right. What I have really enjoyed working with you about is you are, I may be like, hey, Jeff, or I'll say, Belinda, Jeff, it just is not doing X, Y, and Z. And you'll say, have you talked to Jeff?
That's right.
Yes, you do. You are an like I mentioned before, you are an info gatherer, but I do appreciate that you are also pushing the other leaders in this firm to also be info dispersers too.
Yes.
That it's not your job as a leader, and especially as a leader of a whole division, to be the person to always give feedback.
That's right.
And you are doing a beautiful job of pushing all of us out of our comfort zones to actually deliver it.
Yes. So CCK has this beautiful culture of care. And sometimes in that culture of care, we avoid the negative or critical feedback that's necessary for growth. Mm-hmm. It all goes back to being kind. And so when I started here, it's been 3.5 years, but I'd have people coming to me and saying, hey, this happened again. And I'm like, ooh, have you had that conversation? Well, no. I'm like, okay, I am happy to talk to that person, but it's going to come across different from you than it will from me. So if you'll schedule some time once you've cooled off, schedule some time to talk to that person.
Yeah.
So it was surprising to me that was not the natural vibe here at first. Mm-hmm. And we have integrated a culture of feedback. So in the last 3 years, we've started 360 feedback.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say whose idea that was, but it's a great tool. So we have feedback going from, preparers up to partners. Well, not yet, but we will soon. And from project managers to partners, division leaders, where the feedback is all around.
Right.
And because we all want to improve. Nobody just wants to stay stagnant in their growth.
Right.
So we need the positive and the critical feedback.
No, that's good.
One of the things I love about this, and I know it sounds like a brag on Belinda, but I really think it's important for our listening audience to hear some of these important takeaways. When I'm with you, we have a lot of discussion, a lot of brainstorming. And if there's an action item, you're on your phone, your computer to send that immediately. And I think that immediate call to action is so helpful. That great, I'm going to let that person know that we probably need to run an update on that report so we have it sooner than later. And to me, I appreciate that because Activator is in my top 10, top 5. And I love the motion. I love the movement because it makes me feel heard and it makes us feel like we're getting some traction. We're not waiting a couple of weeks. And I think that is something that a lot of leaders will really benefit. That why wait? If you're in a meeting, let's take action right now. We can do it while we're working. It's really helpful.
And I used to not feel comfortable doing that. I would feel uncomfortable saying, hey, Joel, give me 3 seconds to actually send this now. But by doing it, I hope that he feels cared for, whoever I'm with. And then it's not 2 weeks later that, man, hopefully it rises to the top of my to-do list.
Yeah, we are so busy, we forget.
Yes.
It gets caught up in a task list.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So in that, with feedback, one-on-ones, having a one-on-one meeting, yay or nay? What do you think?
Absolutely. I think one-on-ones are so important, and really to get to know each other at that personal level too. So as a manager, when we're working long, stressful hours, this is a stressful job, to be able to know more about your employee than just their output, but know who their kids are. Do they have pets? Do their parents live overseas? Where's their favorite vacation spot? Is their brother getting married September 14th, which happens? But knowing those things so that you can really be that source of support, because we're real people and we have real life issues that pop up. We have babies that are born early. We have parents that get sick overseas. And to be able to step in and have that true relationship where we absolutely want to do the best thing for our employee, that's important. And I believe that is one of the things that makes CCK so special, is how we do get to know each other. So those one-on-ones are important. I have instructed my team leaders to never skip 2 one-on-ones in a row.
Right.
It's okay in a really, really busy time. It's okay to skip 1, but never skip 2 in a row, and at least lay eyes on their, even if it's 5 minutes. Hey, I just want to see your face. I want to see if you're doing okay, and see for myself. So I think the one-on-ones are really, really important.
No, that's really great, because I have to agree with that. You get to see a lot in that person, especially when we have multiple offices and people working 100% remote. You can say I'm fine in an IM or an email, but that could just be a cover up or
That's right.
They're really quick response. So I am a fan of the one-on-ones too. Yeah. Frable, are you?
I like one-on-ones because we usually end up talking.
That's right.
And
Shooting the breeze.
it's getting to know someone. I think that's where my problem is I don't tend to remember. And so I'm really good in the conversation, and I care about the entire thing. But then you have a conversation later and you're like, oh, they told me something and I can't remember what it was.
Oh, I have a tool for that.
You do?
Yes.
Oh, is this, okay, this is bonus?
Yeah.
Bonus thing
So
here?
I have a OneNote. Do you know what that is? Does he know? Do you know?
Is that one of them
Microsoft.
computer things?
It is a computer thing where you can take notes. I used to carry around like 30
But you
notebooks.
can only take one note, right?
Oh, Jeff. So anyway, in my OneNote, I have a page for one-on-ones, and I have a subpage for every single person that I meet with. And so I pull it up really quick before my meetings.
There you go.
And I review, like I put the newest notes at the top, and then things that I want to pin, I pin at the top. But I'll know, like, okay, Jenny's kids started kindergarten last week. And so in our next one-on-one, I tried to say, like, okay, tell me, how was the first week of kindergarten? Those things, because there is a point where you start feeling disingenuous if you are not remembering those things. Right. My memory is not the best because my brain is flying from thing to thing. So I take a lot of notes. OneNote.
Well, OneNote. Okay. I want to bring this back around to something you said early in our discussion. Is you were talking about how your roles had changed from where you were to where you are now. And you made the comment that you're not client facing, but in reality, your clients are teammates.
That's right.
And that, I know that's the way you approach it. And it's extremely important. And one of the things I think that sets us apart as a firm in this industry is, and you hear it all the time with interns, they're like, or someone comes from another firm and they're like, well, I was never able to go into the partner's office. You're like, why? They're just a person. And it's the same thing with you. You are the big bad division head. You're the one driving production and making, but you are a very capable, caring person. And so people need to experience that, both sides of the driving as well as, look, we can drive all day long, but I do care about you as an individual.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah. I appreciate your approachability with that. That is great. Okay. So what are some practical takeaways for our leaders who are listening today? You know, like what are some things that you would encourage those that are leaders, which everybody's a leader, but those that are really leading a division or a team, what are some things that you would highly recommend?
So I think the best leaders are those that come to the table with a servant's heart. Like, how can I serve others? And unless people see that in you, they're more than likely not going to want to follow your lead. So that's number one. I believe in grace. So giving grace when people mess up, because then I would rather people put their foot forward and fall, and we'll be there as a team. Christy always says lock arms, but lock arms, like we're not going to let you fail, but we want you to try new things. So really encouraging your teammates to try new things. And then the power of communication. Say things 7 times. Be specific. Don't use the shotgun approach. Like, say what you mean to the people that need to hear it, not to those that don't.
That is so good.
That's good.
That's so good.
Yeah.
And especially you are giving grace as a leader. If you give grace, you're going to have you're going to have grace reciprocated back to you, because I mean, you're human too, Belinda.
That's
and
right.
we're all human, and we're gonna mess up as leaders too.
Absolutely.
And so give yourself grace too. I hope you give yourself grace. All right.
Some need more grace than others, but that's okay. Well, Belinda, it has been amazing having you here.
Thanks.
So many good nuggets, but I think what everybody waits for is the very end for rapid fire.
All right. You ready?
I am ready.
All right. We're going to start off easy. What's your favorite holiday?
Oh, Christmas. I love decorating Christmas trees.
No brainer.
All right. If you could live anywhere in the world for a year, where would it be?
Estes Park, Colorado.
Well,
Wow.
she's
Okay. Wrap that
quick,
off. I
very
love
quick.
that. Okay. Why? So you're
I
a
love the
girl.
mountains. I love hiking. When I'm in nature, my shoulders drop inches. Like literally, I can feel it. And I feel closer to God when I'm in the mountains. Cheesy, but it's the truth.
No,
Oh,
it's
I
not.
love it.
Good.
Love it. Okay. Type of movie: rom-com, drama, or scary?
Ugh, definitely not scary. Rom-com.
Nice. What's your favorite rom-com?
When Harry Met Sally.
Oh. Okay. Texting or calling?
Texting.
I love you. And then lastly, would you rather fly or be invisible?
Fly.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I love it.
Do you know what this shows about Belinda is that she goes with her gut. I mean, she didn't, some of those she knew right off the top of her head, but I think I could see the wheels turning and it was like, this is my answer and I'm going with it. And so it goes back to speak to your desire to keep things moving and to advance a situation versus letting it sit on a list and forget about it.
Yes.
So Belinda, it's been said several different times, but we do appreciate everything that you do here. You have changed CCK for the better in your time here because you have done something that no one else has been able to do. And we finally got it right with getting the right person in that position. So we love you and appreciate you. We love and appreciate our listeners.
Yes.
So all dozens of them. So we would love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment or would love to just get in touch with Belinda, you can email us at podcast@cckcpa.com. If you have an idea for a future episode, we'd love to hear that as well. But very special thanks, as always, go out to CCK. Thank you for the opportunity to use this platform and do something different in the industry. To KP, thank you so much for keeping us on the straight and narrow. To Robert for his intro and outro music. Clarence Fisher, our wise man, with Tulsa Internet Marketing Services, we appreciate you. And Emily Johansson for doing all of the background work, getting us uploaded and descriptions and all that kind of. It's not an easy thing to do.
No, she rocks at it.
She does rock that out. But we've got a great team. We appreciate you listening. We hope that you come back and listen next week. And you can hear when these two CPAs get together to have a chat and you get to find out who's on the mic.
The information provided on this podcast is for general informational and educational purposes only and does not constitute accounting, tax, legal, or financial advice. While we strive to provide accurate and up-to-date information, laws and regulations change and individual circumstances vary. Always consult with a qualified CPA or professional advisor before making any financial or business decisions. The views expressed by the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of any organizations they are affiliated with. Listening to this podcast does not create a client-accountant relationship. By listening to this podcast, you acknowledge and agree to those terms. And that's a wrap for this episode of Two CPAs in the Mic. If you found today's episode helpful, please subscribe, share, and leave us a review. Have questions or ideas for a topic? Reach out. We'd love to hear from you. Email us at podcast@cckcpa.com.